welcome to another episode of Daily Tribune Street Talk, where we discuss current issues that matter to all of Filipinos. I am Gigie Arcilla. We are live on Daily Tribune's Facebook page and Tribune Now on YouTube. Please welcome our guest, the Commanding General of the Philippine Army, Lieutenant General Romeo Brawner Jr. Thank you for granting our invitation to guest in Straight Talk, General. And allow me to kick off with the first question.
Ma'am Gigi, and
Yes.
thank you for inviting me to your program this
Yes,
morning.
good morning, General. Finally, we got
Finally,
you here.
yes.
Okay. Um, the Philippine Army is said to be the largest branch of service of the AFP. What is the current strength of the Philippine Army and regulars and including regulars and reservists?
Well, right now, ma'am, we have 110,000 regular soldiers of the Philippine Army, and for next year, 2023, we are going to increase to 117.
So that's an additional 7,000.
An additional 7,000. For the reserve component of the Philippine Army, we have a double the number of our regular forces.
So, being the largest, really, the Philippine Army has the large number of members.
Yes, yes, ma'am. We compose around 70% of the total population of
AFP.
the armed
Oh,
forces
so
of the
that's
Philippines.
talagang largest pala siya.
Yes.
How many were recruited during your term? I understand you were appointed 2021.
Yes, 2021. For the year 2022, we recruited around 6,000 new soldiers. That includes both officers and enlisted personnel, ma'am.
I understand, the continuing recruitment of, reservists.
Yes.
Ano yung role ng reservist?
Well, yung reservists natin are called force multipliers because they expand the armed forces, and in case of let's say war, they can be called upon anytime to help defend our territory, defend our country. So yun po yung pinaka-objective natin. But in times of peace, yung ating mga reservists, they help very much in the development of our country, and also in response to natural disasters and calamities. Nasa front line po yung ating mga reservists.
Oh, okay. So, since na frequent naman tayo ng calamities.
Oo, inevitable. Every year, we, on the average, mga 20 ang
storms,
typhoons ang dumarating sa atin because we are in the Pacific Ring of Fire.
Yeah.
So, hindi natin maiwasan, ma'am. That is why we need all the help that we can get to deal with these calamities and mitigate the effects sa ating mga kababayan. So, kaya makikita nyo po, tuwing nagkakaroon ng bagyo, nandyan yung hindi lamang yung mga regular forces ng armed forces, but also the reserve forces are there to help.
So, that's 110 plus, I forgot how many reservists are there.
Around double that number, ma'am. We have
So
about
that's
200
200 plus?
200
Oh, ang
plus
dami pala.
reservists. Oo.
Okay.
Hindi natin mapeg at an exact number right now because sometimes nag-expand ito at lumiliit, ma'am, depending on the
Activeness.
willingness, the volunteerism of
Okay.
our reservists
So
also.
it's a volunteer group.
Yes, it is. Wala silang sweldo.
I was supposed to ask
Yeah,
that.
walang sweldo ang mga reservists natin, and yet they are willing to serve the country, to sacrifice even their own lives. You know? Siyempre, delikado po na nandun sila sa front lines.
Yeah.
And this year we are very happy because we have a lot of reservists coming to the Philippine Army. Hindi lang po yung mga kabataan natin, but even our lawmakers. Marami tayong senators, marami tayong congressmen, mayors, governors na mga reservists ng Philippine Army, and they are very enthusiastic, kaya masayang-masaya po kami.
So, based on my readings about the Philippine Army, it's said to be the ground responsible for
Yes.
ground warfare. So, can you please make us understand ano ba yung ground warfare?
Okay. So, meron po tayong three branches of service sa Armed Forces. We have the Air Force. They're in charge of defending our skies. We have the Navy, Philippine Navy. They're in charge of defending our seas. And of course, the Philippine Army is our land forces, and we are responsible for defending our land, yung ating territory po. So, together, we fight a joint warfare. In other words, pagka nakipaglaban po tayo, or when we defend our territory, we fight as one force. Hindi po magkakahiwalay yun. So, dun sa ating, meron tayong plano. We have a plan to defend our territory. It's an integrated plan where each of these branch of service would play a very vital role in the defense of our territory.
May confusion lang. I mean, from an ordinary citizen. Kasi meron tayong Philippine Marines.
Oh, yes,
Okay.
yes.
And then yung ating Philippine Marines, meron din siyang ground capability. So what's the difference with
Yes, ma'am. Actually, the Philippine Marines naman were organized in such a way that they would be able to attack from the sea going to the land or defend our shorelines. Ganun po yung design nila. Kasi especially nung World War II, when an invader would come to another land, they come by sea mostly, no? Kasi syempre malalaking formations 'yon. And they needed that force that would land on the beach and be able to attack from there, parang ganoon. So, dito po, katulad ng United States, pattern tayo after the United States. We have the Philippine Marine Corps. Pero sa atin, under siya ng Philippine Navy. Oo. Sa Japan naman po, we just came from Japan recently. Kasama ko yung commander ng Philippine Marine Corps, si General Garland. At ang nangyari po, we had a trilateral meeting for the Japanese Ground Self-Defense Forces. Combined yung kanilang Army and Marines. So wala silang distinction between Army and Marines. But with the United States, na kasama namin sa trilateral meeting, separate rin yung Army and Marines. So, yun po yung di pagkakaiba nila.
So, sinasabi niyo from the sea to the land, yung
Yes.
Marines. So, does it mean na pag nandun na sila sa land, on the shore, they stop there and then turn it over to the army?
Usually, ma'am, that is the
Ganon.
doctrine, yes.
Okay.
So, inland, kung papasok na po sa lupa, it would be the army who would then fight the war from that point.
Okay.
Oo.
So, parang kayo na bahala. Dito
Yes.
na kami. Pero wala namang protocol na, they can't, step on, and they cannot encroach on,
Wala naman,
on
ma'am.
the, on
Wala
the
naman.
territory.
Oo. Especially here in the Philippines, the Philippine Marine Corps are very much involved with internal security operations. Kaya't nagtutulungan po kami. The Army, the Philippine Marine Corps, and the other branches of service.
So, also, dahil largest siya,
Yes.
ang Philippine Army, it is also said to be the oldest branch
Yes.
of service. So, can you bring us back in time how the Philippine Army started? On November 7, 1950. Ganun na
Oo.
pala siya katagal.
Matagal
It's
na,
like
oo.
72 years ago.
Oo, actually, ma'am, we trace our roots from the 1898 formation of the Revolutionary Army. So, ang unang commander natin was General Artemio Recarte. At sumunod si General Luna. General Luna, meron siyang movie, kaya... But the Army celebrated our 125th anniversary this year.
125.
Oh,
So, hindi
100.
pala 1950?
Oh, hindi po. We trace our roots earlier
Ah,
sa 1898. Oh. So yung mga Revolutionary Army na binuo po ng ating mga heroes by Andres Bonifacio. Kaya po yung aming campus dito sa Metro Manila is called Fort Bonifacio, Fort Andres Bonifacio, because we look up to Andres Bonifacio as one of the forefathers of the Philippine Army.
Okay. All right. So, we still have more questions. Medyo nag-uumpisa pa lang tayo,
Yes.
General. So, but before, let's take a short break. Straight Talk will be back.
Nasa kamay mo ang swerte, ngunit hindi ito isang laro na para lang sa iyo. Dahil bukod sa pag-asang maging milyonaryo, ang pagtangkilik mo sa loto at ipapang produkto ng PCSO ay nakakalikom ng pondo para sa mga programang pangkalusugan, tulong at serbisyong medikal at kawang-gawa.
Lahat ng minimiting makakamtan sa PCSO.
Welcome ka dito sa SM. Come as you are. Mahilig ka man sa pabago-bago o sa paikot-ikot. Yung nag-a-adulting or parenting. Ikaw na kulot, white-haired, purple-haired, kayong magkaibigan na nagkaibigan. Buong barkada. Yung gusto mo, chill lang. Or gawin yung feel mo lang. We know you're changing. So we're changing with you. Come on in. We're all in. At SM, you're always welcome here.
Josel Dariaga po.
At may taba sa David.
Dahil sa dagdag singil ng generation companies, 8 centavos ang increase ngayong November at 9 pesos and 95 centavos per kilowatt hour ang overall electricity rate.
Pero magmahal man ang bilihin, lahat ay kakayanin para sa mga mahal natin.
Anak ko ang liwanag ng buhay ko. And I will do everything to protect her. Gusto ko handa siya. Dahil alam kong bright ang future niya.
Ano man, hindi mo na kailangan gawin lahat to.
But it makes me happy, anak.
Every time I'm on the road, I can expect high performance from Phoenix Fuels. Now with Pulse technology, delivers enhanced power and acceleration to make every trip come alive.
I'm Chito Lozada, by the way. So,
Before we took a short break, Chito, we were talking about the army being the largest and the oldest branch of service. So
that's correct.
yeah. So the Philippine Army made a mark because of its crucial role in retaking Marawi City from Islamist militants in 2017. Can you share with our viewers the heroism of our soldiers that some people or many may not know?
Can
Yes,
you
ma'am.
walk us through? Kasi
Yes.
it's a very exciting period in our history.
Yes, sir. First of all, Sir Chito, good morning.
Good morning.
Well, yung Marawi siege was the first time that we encountered such magnitude of an urban warfare. Before that, nagkaroon tayo ng Zamboanga siege, where we saw how rebels or terrorists could attack a city, and how we were unprepared for that. So when Marawi came, lalo natin nalaman na talagang hindi tayo prepared for this kind of warfare, yung urban warfare of that magnitude. Na buong city halos sinakop ng ISIS, Mauti ISIS group. And also the residents of the city fled to evacuation centers. So ang nangyari po was that na-control nila halos yung buong city, and then later on the central business district of Marawi City.
Yes.
So a lot of forces came to help, pero nagsimula po yun talaga on May 23 when the armed forces and some police forces were going to serve a warrant of arrest against terrorist leaders, kasi nalaman po natin through intelligence reports na nandun sila nag-gather dun sa isang safe house nila sa Marawi City. And as the forces were going to serve the warrant of arrest, doon na po nagkaroon ng gera. And it grew, lumaki po yung forces nila dahil nagtawag sila. Hindi lang local pero international. Nagtawag sila ng jihad. No, they used in fact the social media to call other fighters from around the world to come,
Mujahidins.
yes, to come to Marawi to fight. So meron pong mga 50 na mga foreign fighters na dumating galing sa Indonesia, galing sa Singapore, Yemen, Afghanistan. Nagtipon-tipon sila dito sa Marawi City. And also the local terrorist groups, yung mga Abu Sayyaf galing sa Basilan, yung pong ibang mga terrorists galing sa Maguindanao ay nagtipon-tipon dito sa Marawi. And because of that, we were able to contain them into a specific area. At hindi lamang po Philippine Army ang nandun. Nandun of course ang Philippine Navy natin, ang Philippine Air Force, and the Philippine National Police. No? Pati Marines nandun din po. So nagtulong-tulong tayo lahat, at yun po naging resulta. After 5 months of fighting, we were finally able to defeat the last remaining Mauti ISIS dun sa loob po ng main battle area. No? Merong mga nakatakas po. That is why after the siege, after the declaration of the liberation of Marawi, tuloy-tuloy pa rin ho yung ating operations. And at that time, I was the brigade commander of the 103rd Brigade in Marawi City. So nung natapos po yung siege, tuloy-tuloy pa rin ho yung ating operations kasi may mga naiwan pa, may mga remnants nung Mauti ISIS group.
During the 5-month period, General, natutulog ka pa ba nun?
Of course, natutulog po yung ating mga forces. Ang ginagawa po natin, merong lumalaban, may nagpapahinga. And then, nagpapalit-palit sila.
So,
Yung,
yeah, go ahead.
kasi there were those who said that yung grand plan talaga is to build a base here in the Philippines, pero ang sakop talaga the whole of Southeast Asia.
Yes. Totoo po yun. Totoo yun, Sir Chito. In fact, in order for this group to be recognized by ISIS, the international ISIS, they had to have a territory or a wilayat, yun yung tawag nila. So, ang objective po nila for attacking Marawi was to have Marawi City as the center, and then they will expand their territory to Iligan City, Cagayan de Oro, and also dito, pababang south to Cotabato City. So, yun yung pinaka-objective nila. And once they have this territory, they will be recognized by ISIS International. And
Prerequisite pala
prerequisite
yun.
yun, ma'am. Oo. And also, ang mangyayari po is that from the Philippines, they will then expand to Southeast Asia. Yun yung plano nila. To Indonesia, dahil may mga terrorist cells na rin po sila doon at sa ibang mga areas po.
Did you find out bakit Marawi City yung naging
Well,
target for the center of the ISIS?
the leaders of the Maute ISIS were the Maute brothers. At taga doon po sila sa Marawi. In fact, they grew up there, they studied there. So, emplaced na. Kaya nga po yung maraming nagtataka ba't ang daming mga baril at mga bala nung ISIS, saan nila nakuha. They prepared a long time for that. No? In fact, bago po nangyari yung Marawi Siege, nagkaroon ng mga gera sa Butig, which is also in Lanao del Sur, kung saan po nandun yung mga kampo ng Maute brothers. No? And aside from that, the Marawi City is the only Islamic city in the country. So they were hoping na kapag na-control po nila ito, that they would get the sympathy of other Muslim tribes and other terrorists. No? So magsasama-sama sila doon. Yun ang
Show of force.
plano nila. Yes.
General, meron ka bang figures? Actually, we read, we read different figures. Ilan yung naging casualties? Like how many civilians? Fatalities na lang.
yes,
How
opo.
many fatalities? Civilians, sundalo, and yung ISIS, I mean this militants, and then ilang baril ang na-confiscate?
Around 77 civilians were killed during that time. Most of them, ito yung mga in-execute ng mga Maute ISIS. Hindi po malaki yung numbers because the civilians were evacuated already. Nagkaroon po tayo ng parang safety corridor where lahat po ng mga civilians doon dumaan para makalabas ng Marawi City. Ang namatay po na sundalo was 168. Soldiers, policemen. Kasama na po lahat doon. But for the Maute ISIS and the other terrorist groups, more than 1,000 po yung namatay sa kanila.
More than 1,000. Ilang baril po ang...
Ang estimate po natin is around 600 na mga baril ang na-confiscate natin.
Yung doon, yung marami rin na-confiscate na mga cash, mga
Yes.
drugs.
Yes. Opo, totoo yun.
Parang doon finance yung
Yeah, they have to stay awake din kasi. They have to stay
So,
awake, they have to sell it,
Yes.
to make money out of it.
And they intentionally attacked the central business district ng Marawi because there were banks there na renade po nila at kinuha nila yung mga pera. Plus alam po nila yung mga bahay po ng mga mayayaman doon, and sometimes may practice po ang ating mga kababayan doon na hindi nagbabangko kundi nagtatago ng cash. So alam po ng mga Maute ISIS kung saan po kukunin itong mga to. So they got a lot of cash, jewelries, marami po silang kinuha, and for the purpose of building their their war chest para makarecruit pa sila ng mga members. In fact, may mga lumabas po sa kanila dun sa main battle area para mag-recruit pa ng mga iba pang mga fighters, and they use cash to recruit.
Meron bang nakatakas?
Yun po, may mga nakatakas nung una, pero after the liberation of Marawi, tuloy-tuloy pa rin yung ating operation. Kaya nakuha pa rin ho natin sila.
Pero may mga remnants yan, I'm sure.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
who are
Ngayon,
still-
there's a very small group na lang po na remnants.
Is there a chance na mangyari ulit? Hindi na.
Sana po hindi na. Sana hindi na mangyari. Ang critical po dito is yung pagtutulungan natin lahat bilang mamamayan ng ating bansa.
Yeah,
No?
and of course the total rehabilitation of Marawi.
Yes, yes. That is why, sir, even with the communist terrorists, yung approach natin is the whole of nation approach. with Executive Order number 70, which was signed by then President Rodrigo Roa Duterte, which also gave birth to the NTF-LCAC, yung National Task Force to End Local Communist Armed Conflict. And we have been very, very successful because of that concept of helping each other, whole of nation approach. Lahat tayo nagtutulungan, lahat tayo may stake tayo sa security ng ating bansa.
Yeah, kasi during the time of, because of, the aggressiveness of, the EO-70, during the time of General Brawner, during, when he was 4th ID commander, very, the gains that they have made
Opo, yes.
regarding, fighting, the threats.
Internal threats.
Yes, yes. In fact, it was during this time where we were able to neutralize si George Madlos, Kaoris,
Yeah.
which was he was very famous because he was a spokesperson of the Mindanao forces, but he also became the national commander of the New People's Army.
Yeah.
So marami na po ang talagang mga nag-surrender na mga members ng NPA after that. Kaya't hinihikayat pa rin natin yung mga natitirang mga miyembro ng New People's Army, pati na rin yung mga ibang mga local terrorist groups na mag-surrender na lang. Kasi napakaganda ng offer ng ating gobyerno, yung ECLIP, no? Enhanced Comprehensive Local Integration Program. At kasama po natin dito yung mga local governments, yung mga mayors natin, mga governors, sa pagbigay talaga ng ayuda. And genuine yung ating desire to help them come back to society and integrate para makatulong naman sila sa ating bansa.
So effective yung localized approach do sa negotiating with the
Yes, sir, Chito. Since we did that, nag-localize tayo, hindi na tayo umaasa sa national peace talks. Kasi naman kung ang experience natin, sir, ma'am, di ba? Pag nag-peace talks tayo, they use this, the CPP, NPA, NDF use this opportunity to regroup. To regroup.
Para may ceasefire.
May ceasefire. So, pero nung nag-localize tayo, naramdaman ng mga mismong grassroots at yung mga supporters nila na desidido po yung ating gobyerno na tulungan sila. And we are very thankful to our new president, President Ferdinand Romualdez Marcos Jr., for continuing the programs so that we could also sustain the gains that we have had in the recent years.
Yeah. So, ang tanong kong next, General, is how did the Army evolve from when it started? Ano yung mga naging challenges ng Philippine Army?
Alam niyo po, of course, we are not a rich country, so we do not have really the resources to continue to sustain a modernized army. Noong 1960s, tayo ang most advanced dito sa area ng Asia Pacific. No, we were even above Japan and the other countries in the region. Yung military natin was one of the strongest. However, we depended too much on the United States being our ally nung nandito po sila. Pero nung natapos po yung contract natin sa bases at umalis sila, medyo that was the start of the decline ng ating yung status ng ating equipment at hindi kaagad-agad natin na palitan itong mga ito. But with the AFP modernization program that we have now, ay unti-unti po tayong umaangat ulit yung ating status dito sa region as one of the world-class armies. Alam niyo po, hindi lang kasi sa equipment nakikita yung pagiging world-class.
Yeah. I was supposed to ask that.
Yes, ma'am. In fact, in the entire world, yung ating mga sundalo are one of the best. No? And this has been proven in some competitions.
Skills.
In terms of skills. Dahil tayo po, we have been fighting continuously tuloy-tuloy po, no? So it's a revolution, World War I, World War II, tumulong rin tayo sa Vietnam War, sa Cambodia, and internally, meron tayong gera, no? Against the communist terrorists and against the local terrorists. So tuloy-tuloy po yung experience. Kaya we are one of the most experienced soldiers in the entire world.
In the entire world.
Opo, oho.
So in terms of experience.
Of fighting. Kaya hindi po tayo nagkulang sa experience. But of course, when it comes to modern weapons, no, yun po, we have to really modernize our equipment para makahabol na rin po tayo dun sa ibang mga armies and armed forces around the world.
Currently, General, I mean, in terms of modernization, since nag-kick off naman siya like, a few admins ago, ano yung, if you would rate, I mean, how many % na modernized ang equipment ng Philippine Army?
Medyo mahirap po i-quantify, but in terms of force protection, for instance, protecting our forces with the gears that we have, yung ating helmets, yung ating vests, yung modern rifles natin, malayo na po ang nararating natin. But the more modern weapons like missile systems, multi-launch rocket systems, yun po ang wala pa tayo masyado. We have started already in the procurement phase of those platforms, pero hindi pa ho kaagad-agad nakakarating. In the Army, we have an order of light tanks. At we are expecting them to arrive early next year, 2023. Dumating na rin po yung ating mga self-propelled 155 howitzers. Parating na rin po yung ibang mga C4 I-Star equipment. These are the computer systems, electronic warfare systems, and the like, para na ma-integrate po natin yung mga fighting systems natin. Meron na rin tayong mga drones, high-tech drones na dumating. So ito po yung mga ina-expect natin sa Philippine Army. Sa Philippine Air Force naman, we already have Black Hawk helicopters. At dumadami na po yung ating Black Hawk helicopters. Magkakaroon na rin po tayo ng mga multi-role fighters. And for the Navy, nakikita po natin na tuloy-tuloy rin yung pag-modernize natin by getting new frigates, new ships, and hopefully maybe someday we can get a submarine.
Yung na-acquire ng Philippines from Turkey recently, that's going to the Air Force.
Air Force, yes, ma'am. The attack helicopters. We now have 4 of those attack helicopters from Turkey. And this will definitely boost yung ating capability on internal security operations and even territorial defense.
Gusto ko lang tanong, G, yung self-sufficiency ng military.
Opo,
to produce our own equipment. Would that be in
possible
the near future?
Oh, yes, sir. Yan ang isang programa ng ating bagong administrasyon. Actually, sinimulan din ng previous administration yung Self-Reliance Defense Posture Program. Dati po nung panahon ni dating Pangulong Marcos, Ferdinand Marcos, ay nagkaroon tayo ng programas. At that time, we were producing our own rifles, our own radios, our own ammunition. No? At nagte-take off na po ito. Unfortunately, hindi po na-sustain ito. But now, we are again starting that program para hindi na po tayo kailangan bumili pa sa ibang bansa ng mga armaments natin. Nagawa ng ating mga ibang mga neighbors. In fact, Vietnam is doing that already. Indonesia, Malaysia. No? So, medyo nahuhuli na rin po tayo, but kaya po natin. Kaya natin. Ang kailangan po dito ay, again, the collaboration of the private sector, of government, of academe. Kasi po yung research and development, kailangan academe ay pumasok dito para nang sa gayon ay talagang maging modern tayo in terms of research and development, and we will be able to produce or manufacture our own weapon systems. Kailangan po ma-develop yung industry natin na yun.
Is that going to be in the near future?
Well, it will take time, ma'am. It will take time, but at least we are
Beyond
starting
the Marcos
already.
administration or
During this,
During this administration po,
administration.
may mga makikita na tayo. In fact, the government arsenal is expanding. At they will be able to create not just ammunition, they will be able to manufacture yung mga big ammunition natin, like yung mga mortars natin at pang mga 155 howitzers.
even
And
missiles.
rifles, magpuproduce na rin po sila ng mga weapon systems. At sabi nila dun sa pinakita nila po na prospects nila in the future, they will be making even land transport vehicles, no? Yung mga
Yeah, the
armored vehicles natin. Oo.
So the transportation roadmap, how would it develop right now? How is it developing right now?
Maganda po yung ating transformation roadmap. In fact, ang pinaka-objective natin is that by the year 2028, that we will have a world-class army that is a source of national pride.
2028.
2028 po, oo. Pero yun nga po, we are now in the year 2022, malapit na yung 2028.
6
no?
years from now.
So nagkaroon po tayo ng strategy refresh.
16.
Oo. And now, we are targeting 2040. So that beyond 2028, pag na-achieve na po natin yung objectives natin, meron pa tayong hinaharap na by the year 2040, we will have a modern army, a world-class army that is multi-mission ready and cross-domain capable. Ibig sabihin po niyan ay kayang gawin ng Philippine Army ang kahit na anumang mission na ibigay sa atin, whether internal security or territorial defense. And we can also work in the other domains. Alam niyo po, marami na tayong domain, hindi lang air, land, and sea, pati cyber. Meron na tayong bagong cyber. Sa ibang bansa meron pa silang space domain. Pero mukhang hindi pa tayo makakarating pa in the near future. But cyber domain, dapat kayang-kaya po natin lumaban dyan.
So is it going to be the role of the Philippine Army?
Oh yes, ma'am. We already have a cyber battalion. And
That's new.
Cyber
Oo,
battalion.
bago yan
Oo,
sa
bago.
pandinig.
Yes, oo. Pero high-tech na rin
mga
po tayo.
robots.
Kasi makagaling po ang Pilipino
Oo.
when it comes to information technology. In fact, di ba nga po kung matandaan nyo yung unang mga viruses, mga Pilipino,
Yeah,
I
mga
love you
Pilipino.
virus, Pilipino ang
I
gumawa
love you
nun.
virus.
Correct.
Yeah.
So we are not lacking in talents,
We just have to,
in skills.
tap.
So we just have to tap them.
So the education of the military is kailangan they would be also a step ahead do sa mga
Oh, yes sir,
mga
yes sir.
hackers.
Kaya tuloy-tuloy yung ating schoolings, yung ating professionalization of the entire organization.
Okay. So interesting yung cyber battalion. So medyo mainit, maganda 'yon. I mean, very interesting. It's something new to us. So let's take a quick break. It is going to be our last break, General. And Straight Talk will be right back.
Iba ng panahon, dami ng bago ngayon. Pati ang mundo natin, well, nagbago na rin. Buti ano bayan, bigger, better na. You can buy to centers, pati sa mga partners may online pa at app. You can buy it with your fingers, still don't remittance and more. Online shopping, you can buy it all. Di magpadala, you can buy it all. Anumang pera transaction, you can buy it all.
Sabayan ang pagbabago ng mundo for all your pera transactions, all new buy it.
Nasa kamay mo ang swerte, ngunit hindi ito isang laro na para lang sa'yo. Dahil bukod sa pag-asang maging milyonaryo, ang pagtangkilik mo sa loto at ipapang produkto ng PCSO ay nakakalikom ng pondo para sa mga programang pangkalusugan, tulong at serbisyong medikal at kawang-gawa.
Lahat ng minimithi makakamtan sa PCSO.
So, welcome back mga katribu. And you're still here with us with Lieutenant General Romeo Brawner, the Commanding General of the Philippine Army.
Yes, sir.
So this is going to be my second to the last question, General. So your thoughts about the mandatory ROTC?
Personally, I am in favor of the mandatory ROTC. It's because we have to prepare our citizens for any eventuality, including war. Nakikita po natin dun sa conflict ng Russia and Ukraine that's going on now, ang mga lumalaban at dumedepensa sa kanilang bayan sa Ukraine are the citizens.
Themselves.
The citizens themselves. They do not rely entirely on the armed forces nila, but sila mismo, because they were prepared, they were trained. Kitang-kita po natin yung ibang mga feeds, yung mga babae lumalaban, no? Pati mga bata lumalaban in defense of their country. So we have to at least also prepare our youth for that eventuality. But more than that, no, hindi lang po kasi gera ang nadidevelop natin dito sa ROTC program. But we develop the patriotism of our youth so that ang nasa isip po nila is that they have to give back to their country, they have to serve their country. Sa ngayon po, sa nakikita natin, it's not just here in the Philippines, it's a worldwide phenomenon that the youth of today are so much engrossed on social media. No? In fact, sabi nga po ng mga matatanda, hindi na halos lumalabas at naglalaro yung mga bata. Hindi na nila alam kung paano gumawa ng apoy, for instance, how to start a fire is very basic. Yung mga basic skills, how to tie knots. Ito po yung mga matututunan natin sa ROTC, basic skills, survival skills, for instance. But as I said, more than that, it's really that sense of patriotism that we want to develop in our youth.
Mandatory enlistment. Are you in favor of that?
Hindi, well, at this point, hindi pa tayo ready po. Hindi tayo katulad ng Israel,
Korea.
South Korea, where they require their citizens to serve a few number of years in the military. Sa atin po, kahit na hindi naman po kailangan lahat ay mag-serve, but we just prepare, magkaroon na tayo ng training and awareness dun sa pwedeng mangyari. Marami pong nagsabi na imposibleng umatake ang Russia sa Ukraine. No? Pero
It
ito
happened.
po, it happened. No? Nangyayari. So, dito po sa ating region, medyo volatile yung situation. Alam naman po natin ang nangyayari. Lalong-lalo na po yung mga kababayan natin na mangingisda. Every day, pupunta sila sa dagat natin, sa laot, no? To go on with their fishing para magkaroon silang kabuhayan, pero nahaharang sila ng ibang mga bansa, no? While we are actually operating in our exclusive economic zone, no? So may mga ganitong mga situations na dapat po aware tayo at kailangan ay uh, matugunan itong mga ganitong problema. But on the part of the Armed Forces of the Philippines naman po, no, pag binalik natin yung ROTC, we are going to make sure that those who will handle the ROTC are professional para maiwasan na po natin yung corruption, hazing, yung mga iba pang mga malpractices na nakita natin nung nakaraan sa ROTC. So, yun po ang ginagawa natin ngayon. We in fact designed a training for ROTC trainers. No?
Okay. How about yung interest ng mga Pilipino to join the military? Yung enlistment, yung regular enlistment, tumataas ba ngayon?
Oh, yes sir. Yes sir, Chito, tumataas ngayon. Ang dami pong gustong magsundalo, ang daming gustong mag-opisyal. Well, ang isa pong contributory factor nito is yung sweldo tumaas. No?
Correct, yes.
In fact, yung private, no, entry level sa armed forces,
How much?
40,000 pesos.
Wow.
Compared to yung entry level sa mga, let's say, sa mga private corporations,
that's true.
no?
That's true.
15,000, less than 20,000.
So, baka pwede ka pa,
Pwede
Chito.
pa.
So,
Pagpasok ko, 40,000 daga.
opo, yun yung entry level, yung mga privates
Private.
natin. In fact, yung mga kadete natin sa PMA,
Cadets.
mas mataas po ng konti doon. No?
So, may compensation na.
Oo,
when you're a
Opo.
cadet.
Pag pumasok ka bilang kadete, meron ka ng sweldo.
So, ano ka na? Parang you're a regular...
Yes, ma'am. Oo. At ang sweldo mo is a little higher than 40,000.
Parang that's between yata the enlisted
yes, ma'am.
and commissioned
Oo.
rank and, an official
And
rank.
officer.
So that's
Oo.
between.
So, pero dito po kinukuha lahat yung mga, let's say, yung living expenses, of course, the uniforms, and so on, the cost of education. But still, no, kaya nga po, scholar ng bayan din ang ating mga kadete. So, napakaraming gustong pumasok bilang mga opisyal at mga enlisted personnel. But ang gusto po natin talaga makuha na mga recruits natin ay yung mga willing na magserbisyo sa ating bayan. Hindi lamang po dahil
not for the money.
Not for the money, no? Of course, that's a reality. Kailangan natin mabuhay. But more than that, it's that sense of commitment, that sense of patriotism. Yun po ang gusto natin makuha.
Okay. So, do you have your last words, General, on, I mean, maybe you missed something, and then last words and assurance, to know, there are people kasi who, very negative kasi yung tingin nila sa army. Parang ang tingin nila, parang kung ano yung paniniwala nila, impression nila, I mean, that's all about it.
Yes, ma'am. Well, first of all, Ma'am Gigie, Sir Chito, thank you for inviting me to your program this morning.
It's our pleasure, privilege.
Maganda po ito dahil na napapaabot natin yung gusto nating sabihin sa ating mga publiko. That is why nananawagan po kami sa ating mga unang-una, sa ating mga mamamayan. Nagpapasalamat kami for your trust and confidence in your Philippine Army. Alam niyo po, nakuha namin for the succeeding years the highest trust rating and satisfaction rating.
Ilang percentage po?
85%. 85% po. So, ibig sabihin ay marami na pong nagtitiwala sa inyong mga sundalo at makakaasa po kayo na kami naman po ay magiging professional din. So, nananawagan din kami sa ating mga kababayan na nawala sa landas, yung mga nagrebelde, yung mga kasapi po ng CPP, NPA, NDF at yung mga local terrorist groups na mag-surrender na lang po kayo nang sa gayon ay makasama ninyo ang inyong mga pamilya, ang inyong mga kaibigan ngayong Pasko. At sana po ay magpatuloy yung ginagawa nating maganda para sa kapayapaan ng ating bansa. Once again, maraming salamat po, and I would like to greet everyone a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
All right. Thank you, General
Well,
Brawner, and much that
well
we
said.
still want to talk to you, but then, due to time constraints, we're going to let you go. So, thank you for gracing our program this morning.
It's been a pleasure. The pleasure is with us in having you as our guest, General.
Thank you.
And thank you, mga katribu, for tuning in. Watch Straight Talk Live every Tuesday on Facebook and YouTube. Once again, I'm Gigie
And
Arcilla,
I'm Chito Lozada.
and this has been Straight Talk.
We would like to thank the following: Araneta, Pag-ibig, SM Supermall, Veteran, Divina Law Offices, ICTSI, Xlog, Globe, Kia, PLDT, Cherry, Tanawan, Prime Homes, RLC, Pure Gold, Meralco, and SM Retail.